You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
You know,
Wait. We get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen. What is going on?
I like to surprise you in how I greet our viewers and listeners.
I can't
Because he
it.
can't help, yeah, and then he gets all fatootsed.
Fatoots. There's a word. What's fatoots?
I don't know. Just, mixed up and it just throws you off because I'm not, you don't know what's coming. It's like an improv thing. It's like, okay, you go, and let's see what happens. Just playing.
Okay.
Just playing.
Very, very good. So we're doing a short one. Just a quickie. Just Ran J.
Right? Yeah.
Just
us. And Jeffrey brought out this article that just came out. I'm not sure which camera to look at when I introduce you. I'm going to look in the middle.
Well, you can
look at you. I'm going to look at you.
Yeah, okay, we can.
So
they're all doing good.
Yeah.
Anyway, it talks about trust. Trust between employees and their managers is a critical element of the workplace success.
Whoa. Read it so people can understand it. Enunciate, my friends. Enunciate.
Anyway, trust between employees and their managers is a critical element of workplace success. This is the way it came out. It's been sitting here for a while. It's May 25, Training Magazine. Anyway, they have some very good stats about it, and there's not so much trust. Yeah, Career Services Live Careers Generational Workplace Trust Report. With more than half of the 1,000 respondents, 53% believing their managers had lied to them, and 40% reporting they have quit a job due to not trusting their manager in addition. Respondents report favoritism, 23%, unethical behavior, 18%, poor communication, 17%. And
it's the big thing is that Gen Z is the worst of the. That's not the right word, but they're the ones that have the most distrust of their managers because they see work in a totally different way and they have their own ideas and things like that. So they're just not connected.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And the report goes on to say there's a lack of accountability among the managers in those positions. 48% say managers acknowledge mistakes but downplay them. 29% report their managers take full responsibility for their mistakes. 23% have managers who do not admit fault when they make a mistake. And overall, regardless of the generation, the majority of respondents, 63%, say leaders do not understand the priorities and challenges of their generation.
And what I think, what I got out of this, and just what I've seen and heard, because you and I keep up a lot with what's going on in the business world, is that there's a lot of fear from managers, especially if they're of a different generation, that they don't understand them, and that fear and control thing comes in, and they don't want to seem weak.
Yes, and I always worry about surveys like this. They could be pandering to the current generation because they're getting
That's
the
true.
leadership.
Yeah, and we don't know enough. Are they new managers? Are they, what are the details of the industry, or how big are the corporations or companies, things like that? There's a lot we don't know.
Well, exactly. And the point I was going to make, so, we both do contract training for a company, and every once in a while, there's a teeny tiny class, there were only 3 people, one didn't speak English. One was very angry being sent there, and the other one was just angry in general.
So a really good class you had.
Yeah, and so I've heard other speakers load up the evaluations at the end, and I don't like doing that. And I got they gave me a 3-something, which is a bad eval. And so and you always talk about that with managers at the company. And somebody said, "What did you do wrong? What did you do different?" And a whole part of me just went, not a damn thing.
Right.
Sometimes, like the students here the players, they're saying they don't trust them. Well, it's a two-way street.
Of course.
It's a two-way street on things. And there are times when, I don't want to fall in the manager category and say, oh, I'm not admitting my mistakes on that stuff. We do everything we can to try and gel with them. And sometimes it's just not, it's a human being.
Yeah. That's what we just had Rich Batchelor on from the Association of Change Management Professionals. And I gave a talk on the main stage to a lot of them, quite a few hundred. And I got my scores back, and most of them were fantastic. And there were a couple who you just know they just didn't get what play is and why it helps with that change management. And you're not gonna jive with everybody.
Well, and the reason I was going over the stats and then went over that incident of the conversation and the outcome is because, and it came up when we were talking to Rich, is the idea that there's, L&D, as you always say. Yeah. For those who haven't heard, learning and development. Yeah. It's highly hypocritical. Mm-hmm. They may not have Jeffrey Epstein doing sexual harassment classes. That was pretty funny. That was funny. And so I just had to repeat it again because I loved it.
For those of you who missed the
oh
Rich
no,
Bachelor
you're not going to miss
episode.
it. They have to go watch that.
Yeah,
one.
they will.
Anyway, is that one of the things we're talking about is building trust in an organization. Yeah. And if you constantly, you can use anything as a stick. I mean, a couple of things ago, we talked about somebody who was a very active listener, and every time they active listening, it was so they could turn around and beat you with whatever they translated what you said, and they heard you word for word, active listened, and then corrupted it, and then beat you with it. So it doesn't build trust. And to assume that because...
That's a great point, by the way.
Yeah, and because to assume people, if a class doesn't go well, that it's always the instructor, or if a decision doesn't go well...
The customer isn't always right, basically.
No, they aren't. And we've got to understand that. One of the things we have to do, they're so busy trying to get a measurement and prove themselves, they become very non-human beings.
Well, that's their fear coming through, and I think that's where a lot of trust comes in, where there's something lost in the translation somehow.
Absolutely.
Whether they're listening and they don't hear what's underneath or what they need to hear to be better, because they are so afraid of being either caught that they don't know, or the fear of not knowing what they think they should, so right. they don't let it through.
Correct.
And so it's a slippery slope because of what we consider trust to be. It doesn't take into consideration the human condition.
Correct. And I don't know.
That was a big sigh.
well, I'm trying to link the two thoughts, because when you were talking, I was thinking about Briggs Riley. So I switched.
So he was not active listening, folks.
I was. Maybe I wasn't. No, I heard your points. Yeah. I was just, it
Myers-Briggs,
got me thinking. It got me.
Myers-Briggs
no, Briggs Riley.
I don't know what Briggs
Riley is. Briggs Riley is a suitcase.
Oh.
So I went from, come on, keep up with the conversation. So look, I was with a
personality.
I had. No, wait a second. No, understand this. Okay. You got to follow me.
So we're talking luggage.
Okay. So I used to have a Toomey. The Toomey finally broke. It's been 15 years. It was great. Toomey's no longer making a soft case. They've gone hard case.
Okay.
Again, folks, just because people are, that's the trendy thing, you don't drop the soft case side. Yeah. Some of us like it because we're big and it's hard to get a week's worth of clothes.
Yeah, I like ones that
into the carry-on.
Expand. But we digress. So
anyway,
trust.
Briggs Riley had a perfect one, and I hadn't tried them before. Well, the first time I used it, the handle bent. It fell over and the handle bent.
Oh.
And the handle's made differently. And so Briggs Riley talks about customer service. Sorry. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is how it all links. So it's about the insanity that's going on in corporations and with managers and with it. We've got all this new information, and we're not necessarily applying it. Well, Briggs Riley is really trying to apply customer service. So hard to get hold of somebody. Again, very common going on with companies. I finally did get, when I sent them an email, they responded to it. So email was working for them. And they wanted me to drive it somewhere or ship it. And I said, look, it's the first time I used it, and you guys should look at the handle and study it. So I sent it in. They came back, beautiful job, and they did perfect. So high marks to Briggs Riley. They're really doing a good job on it. The handle still needs to be redesigned. And so that's the thing. Are they listening? If they really want to support customers, I'm wondering what the error rate is on that handle. If it's easily
how
bent.
many people have complained or redone it? Yeah,
Right.
I would imagine if enough people did, they would need to do it.
Right. And then for our training, there are times scores come in. We all have one in a while. And the last director of the training there was great. And she would say, hey, she'd call up and she'd say, hey, it happens, blah, blah, blah. You talk about it, you go over it, what could have gone wrong. And it was an open conversation. And first of all, companies should adopt something to handle that. Right. Just like Briggs Riley obviously handled. I said, look, I want to send it back into you guys. And they said, okay, you could pay to ship it. And I said, no. And they did it. So on the front line, they had a lot of autonomy to make the right decisions with things. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things going on with trust is that you've got trust is tied to a little autonomy, and trust is also tied to one of your other pillars, accountability. Yeah. And I think that if they incorporate more of this, and we could really take advantage of AI, and it can focus on tracking the data. We've just got to then analyze it and put it to good use in a humanistic way.
Yeah. And I think it takes a lot of critical thinking from the powers that be for them to look past what's right in front of their nose at the bigger picture of what the particular actions will ripple out to be.
Right, and if you don't have that, grace with accountability, and you just beat people up, it's like that active listening person who just, listening for another thing to push their point.
Yeah, well, they're listening for ammo.
Yeah, exactly, listening for ammo. There we go.
That's actually. I think we need to write something on that. Maybe we'll do a
listening
blog.
For ammo.
Listening for ammo.
There you go.
There, all right.
So when I talked about the trust thing and showed Rona the article, she came up and she said, those are that's part of my 4 pillars.
And actually, full disclosure, transparency, which is one of them. Accountability is not one of my 4.
Oh, it was authenticity.
Authenticity.
Oh,
and
that's right.
So I would say that is a subset, the accountability, because it can be, because accountability comes from all 4 of them. My 4 are trust, authenticity, vulnerability, and transparency.
Which would be VAT, unless, of course, you're German and then the V sounds like
What?
a W, so it would be
what?
VAT. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Anyway, so, it's still a V, because you said VAT.
Yes.
But the A is pronounced.
Germans pronounce a V like a W, and a W like a V.
What?
So it'd be
That would
VAT.
be what?
What are you doing?
Okay. All right.
This will catch on in Germany somewhere. Yeah. They're our second greatest country for listening.
All right. Although
Australia's creeping up on them. Okay.
That is true. I think we have 2 people in
So
Australia.
what are the last 2? We talked about
So it's
we
trust.
talked about trust.
So we talk about trust, authenticity, being exactly who you are. Don't try to be somebody else. They may not know what's off, but they know that there's something fake.
Right. Well, can I mention that, because this person that
yes, go right ahead.
Had the active listening thing. Yeah. They are so in a bottle. There's nothing honest coming out. They're playing it so you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this. There is
She's
no
so fearful.
There's no. It's all politically correct.
Yeah.
It's like it's so.
And unfortunately, when you're in that sort of bubble, you're not letting in anything for creative anything, innovative thinking, ideation with anybody, because it's too much. I think once you're worried about doing the right thing, that the ideas will stop, because sometimes the wrong things can lead to the right answers.
Right, right. Well, plus it's human and it's funny, and
Yeah.
we really we do need more fun at work, and that's what you're all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just everybody should lighten up. Lighten up.
Lighten
okay?
up, damn it.
Lighten
What's
up.
wrong? Come on. All right. So what was that one? What we just trust? Oh, authenticity, vulnerability. So many managers who we have talked to and
Right.
we have seen, especially in certain organizations, are so afraid to be wrong, to be seen as less than, or they have imposter syndrome that they refuse to talk about anything that they don't think they know about, or answer, you know what? That's a great point. That's a great question. I never even thought of that. Let me get back to you. Let's explore that. Oh, you're better at this than I am. When I was in sales, my salespeople were better than I was, and I was happy to have them because they made me look great.
Right.
I could manage them really well. They loved me for that. I gave them their autonomy. Go, make your numbers. And if I can help, let me do that. And I will, do the rest behind the scenes. And I think that's what makes a great manager.
Right. Excellent. I agree 100%. So I have a question, just kind of wrap this one up. There's
we forgot about transparency.
No, we talked
we did?
about,
We did? Okay.
Didn't we talk about transparency?
I don't think so.
Okay, talk about transparency.
Well, you want to make your point?
Well, the point is, and maybe it applies, we can wrap transparency on this, is there are so many articles on the generations and generations. I'm really, it's this thing that people are, learning development just takes everything hook, line, and sinker, whether it's true or not, like the hamburger or the sandwich.
It was written in their magazine, so it must be true.
And the generational thing, I've been finding that that individualism is much more than the generational.
I agree.
And I think that the whole generational idea, it's a foothold, like personality styles and stuff like that. There's just so much emphasis on it. It's like they're grabbing on the straws.
I agree. There's I used to belong to Toastmasters, and I was very involved for many, many years, starting in Florida when I moved here, and I was the head of the LA Speakers Bureau for them, and the woman who started the Beverly Hills Toastmasters Club where I belong just turned 88.
Right.
And we had a birthday and she is an absolute pistol. She's so much fun. We don't even, and there's a core group of us, and they range from 40 to her age, 88.
Right.
And we're all just friends. We don't focus on the age difference, the generation. We all have wisdom from our particular generation that helps the other. And I think if we keep that childlike mindset that says, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's find out. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe we'll have fun together. And, and it's just an easier way to be than going in with that fear that, I'm not going to be not relatable. Yes, but that too. Relevant. Right. Anymore. Or, yes, I can code. I may not know how to lead, and I can learn from this person.
Yeah, but AI, you don't have to code anymore.
That's true. That's true. We don't need you, younger generation. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, and that's and to your point, that's where the transparency comes, where you can say, you know what I know. I have my wheelhouse, my bailiwick. I don't know what you do. I am not a digital native.
Right.
Help me do this, and we will both be better.
Right.
Do
you, when you do classes, you experiment and bring in new material and try different things all the time?
No, I do the same things over and over and over. Of course, I bring in new material.
Exactly. So, talking about the vulnerabilities standpoint, when I'm doing a section or a program on emotional intelligence, I'm beginning to bring out more and more deeper stories, not for therapy. I've already gone through that with them. Just more vulnerability, talking about early on thinking I was a great, leader, and then here's how I messed up, and here's what I didn't do, and some of the things. And the connection with the classes is growing with that. And, at some point, maybe you can go too far, talk about something that shouldn't be involved. And in the meantime, though, just bringing that authenticity and that vulnerability in really, really is enriching the class, because otherwise you could just give it to an AI program and have a bot talk about what's the definition in the dictionary and everything else.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I think we put a fork in it.
All right. Well, this has been fun. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. What about subscribe, listen?
Oh, right. Well, you can. All right. If you like what we're doing, please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We're almost breaking double digits now. I'm kidding. We have more than that. And we do appreciate every single one does help our numbers. And spread the word. Tell everyone you know to listen to Biz-Souls, because I think we're fun.
I think we're pretty fun, too. All right.
And so that makes 2. All right. Great. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.